Hello and welcome to Penalty on the Podcast or Overtime, the weekly XFL and when it starts USFL predicting podcast. The USFL actually starts in 10 days, so the episode for that will come out in about a week. I'm excited. That's been a good football league. It was a good football league last year, so I'm excited for it. Right now, all I have is the XFL. Week 8. So, the way this is going to work, if I have any new listeners, is I'm going to go over last week's slate of games and just talk about each game. And then I'm going to go over this upcoming week's slate of games and give predictions for score, outcome, predictions for personal performances for some players, and stuff like that. Before we do that, just a few messages. Number 1, this is not gambling advice. I truly mean that. I am not responsible for any money that was lost if it was lost while gambling on things said in this podcast. Also, this is an unsponsored podcast. If you'd like to sponsor me, my email is in the description. If you would like to contact me for whatever reason, email is in the description. This podcast is on YouTube and Spotify. If you want to check this show out on the other platform, the link will be in the description. If you're on YouTube, please give a like and subscribe. Help the channel grow. It's free. You can always change your mind, and it takes about a second. So without further ado, let's get into it. Sea Dragons at Renegades. And yeah, the Sea Dragons won. The Sea Dragons are a really good team. They're better than the Roughnecks now, actually. They're 5-2, and really good. The Vipers shocked the Brahmas by totally pounding them, which was unexpected. Unexpectedly, the worst team in the league got their first win by handing the first loss to the best team in the league. 37-36, no one could have seen this coming. The Defenders still on top at 6-1. And the Battlehawks beat the Roughnecks. The Roughnecks had a really strong 4-0 start, and then it's been loss for them since. So, but I think they can turn it around. So let's take a look at this. Vipers at Battlehawks. The Battlehawks are 5-2. The Vipers are 2-5, and it's no question that the Battlehawks will win, despite the Vipers coming off a win. The Battlehawks, AJ McCarron, is number 2 in the league for yards with over 1,500 in only 7 games, as well as 17 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. Brett Hundley isn't bad, but he's thrown for fewer than 500 yards. And yeah, that's really it. I do predict that also Brett Hundley has thrown somehow 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. But I think that AJ McCarron, who is a really good quarterback, will throw at least 2 touchdowns and rush for at least 1. He is not terrible on the ground. I do predict Willie Harvey to get at least 1 sack. I also predict CJ Avery to get at least 1 sack. But the 2 of the Battlehawks defenders have 2 touchdowns. So that's pretty good. I do predict that Brett Hundley throws his very first interception, but I do predict that he throws a touchdown to Jeff Badditt, who has been great at receiver, or at least best the Vipers have. I predict Hakeem Butler catching at least 1 touchdown, And I predict Brian Hill rushing for at least one touchdown. He's the second best back in the league. I predict like 31-18 for the Battlehawks because the Vipers are garbage. Alright, Renegades at Guardians. The Guardians are coming off a win, but that doesn't stop them from being way worse than the Renegades. The Renegades do have Luis Perez at quarterback, which is concerning considering he is quite a terrible quarterback, and he's only good if his team is good. But De'Veon Smith is the number 3 back in the league for the Renegades. For the Guardians, Jermaine Martin, I mispronounced that. I probably butchered that name again. Is the 5th best back in the league, and Cody Latimer is the 2nd best receiver in the league. So, also Quentin Dormady is doing pretty well at number 5 in the QBs. He's got 6 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, which is nice. He's just above Luis Perez. So I predict Quentin Dormady throwing at least 2 touchdowns and Cody Latimer catching at least 1. I predict Jermaine Martin rushing for at least 1 touchdown. I predict De'Veon Smith rushing for at least 1 touchdown. I predict Sal Cannella catching at least 1 touchdown. And I predict Luis Perez throwing at least 1 interception because he's terrible. But the Renegades are still definitely the better team. So I do predict them to win. Also, they got the 2nd best defender if you're counting tackles. And their defense is pretty good. I predict Donald Payne to get at least 3 tackles this game. But I do predict the Renegades to win. I don't know how to score this. 25-14. Scores are weird in the XFL. Scores are extremely weird. San Antonio Brahmas. They actually just scored the very first kick return touchdown in the league. Fred Brown finally got into the end zone, but they're going against the Roughnecks, who I predict to snap their losing streak. Ben DiNucci is such a great quarterback. Oh, wait, no, it's not Ben DiNucci. Brandon Silvers, never mind, is the 3rd best quarterback in the league. Max Borghi is the 6th best running back in the league. And Cedric Boyd is the 6th best receiver. For the Brahmas, their best quarterback is Paxton Lynch, which is a terrible situation for any team to be in, although he does have a 4-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. But still, that doesn't really make him a good quarterback. So their running back, Jaquez Patrick, is right under Max Borghi, but definitely I predict the Roughnecks to win. I predict Max Borghi rushing for at least 1 touchdown. I predict Brandon Silvers throwing at least 2 touchdowns because he is really good at throwing touchdowns. I predict Cedric Boyd catching at least 1 touchdown. I do predict Paxton Lynch throwing at least 1 touchdown. And I do predict Jaquez Patrick rushing for at least 1 touchdown. But I definitely predict the Roughnecks to pound them 26-15. Scores are weird in the XFL, as I've said. Defenders versus Seattle Sea Dragons. Best running back in the league versus best quarterback in the league. Oh, wow. Jacour Pearson of the Sea Dragons is the best receiver. Ben DiNucci of the also the Sea Dragons is the best quarterback. But Jordan Ta'amu is number 4 on that list. And for rushing, Abram Smith is number 1 for the defenders. 4th best is Morgan Ellison. And then Jordan Ta'amu is the 7th best. No, wait, the 8th best rusher in the league, which is incredible for a quarterback. Number 4 in passing, number 8 in rushing. I definitely predict the defenders to win. There's just a much better team. I predict Jordan Ta'amu throwing at least 1 touchdown, rushing for at least 1 touchdown. I predict Ben DiNucci throwing at least 2 touchdowns and at least 1 interception. I predict Abram Smith rushing for at least 1 touchdown. And I predict Jacour Pearson catching at least 1 touchdown. I predict the defenders to win 28-17. I do predict the defenders winning, but yeah, that's it. This league is so small. There are like 4 games a week to cover. Yeah. Strangely, despite the Sea Dragons having the best quarterback and best receiver in the league statistically, they are 7th best in passing offense, which is so weird. So that's really it. Remember that my email, if you want to contact me for whatever reason, is in the description. This is an unsponsored podcast, so if you'd like to approach me with a sponsorship, my email is in the description. This podcast is available on YouTube and Spotify. If you would like to check out the show on the other platform, the link will be in the description. Everything will be in the description, really. If you are listening to this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. It's free. It takes about a second, and you can always change your mind. So that's it. I hope you've enjoyed this installment of Penalty on the Podcaster Overtime. You'll hear more of me next episode.